Let us start our Wednesday night class, number 153, channeling number 153, with a quiet time. Let us relax our bodies and our minds. Let us be at peace. Turn loose of any thought of the day. Bring your full attention to this present moment and this place. At this moment, nothing exists for you on this physical plane outside of this room. But at the same time, the inner dimensions, the other 98% of life, is here and now with us, in us, and everywhere present. Think of divine love coming from the Father of all life, filling our being and going out to surround this planet and to fill the whole universe. Know that this is happening and realize that the only requirement to be a channel for divine love, for God's love, is willingness. If you are willing, God's love is flowing through you in great abundance at this moment, and you are blessed. As God's love flows through you, it heals all the rough spots that are in your total being. It brings light, divine light, of understanding and wisdom into your mind. It brings the companion of God's love, the greatest companion of all companions. And you feel fulfilled, filled full of His blessed divine being. Thank you, Father. Our title for class tonight is Patience. As you travel the road of illusion, remember to be patient. Patient with yourself, others, and life as you find it. When you are relaxed and at peace, it is much easier to be patient. If you are impatient, you are not relaxed and at peace. Impatience is another attribute of fear. Fear is intimately connected with illusion. On your plane, you have played the game of duality so long, you have all but forgotten the reality of life as it truly is. Where there is fear, there is illusion. Where there is illusion, there is duality. Life is, period. It is not this or that or whatever you want to hang on it. It just is. When you are ready to look with the inner eye through, above, and beyond the falseness of your dressed-up, prefabricated plane of illusion, you are able to see the truth, and the truth sets you free from the physical tensions that break down the cells in your physical body and befuddle your mind. A greater part of this destruction of your tools, the mind and body, are caused from impatience. Learn to draw upon the God power within you and see clearly the illusions, the illusionary manifestations on your plane are created through your erroneous thoughts, your false beliefs. You daily look out at the illusions of the physical world. Learn also to look within, to the center of your being where God dwells, and let His divine light show you that which is truth and that which is false. Anything based in fear is false. Did you know that over 90% of the people of your plane are constantly putting their energy, their life force, into bringing about that which will soon turn to dust and ashes in their hands? In a hurry? In a hurry to do what? Rushing to and fro in a hurry is another avenue of the lack of patience. Good evening, my dear ones. This is Don, coming to you from these divine love and light realms where the sun shines brightly continuously. The sun of God's light, the sun of God's love, the sun of God's healing power. There is no one here in a hurry. There is no one rushing to and fro, for we have learned that life is this moment, everywhere present, and that this moment is all there is. My dear ones, when you truly learn to live in the present moment, you will eliminate impatience. You will eliminate the fears and anxieties that dwells with you much of the time. When you learn to live in the heart of God's love, you will feel the warmth of His presence. You will feel the light of His understanding. You will know the healing that His love brings to you. When you remember to know who you truly are, then you can be relaxed and you can be at peace. When you remember to realize that the plane that you live on, that you use your five senses to experience with, then you will remember that you have created this plane of illusion. You and all others who are dwellers on this planet and who are connected with this planet and with this plane of illusion. When you took your first thought from the Father, separate from the Father, you began to experiment with this thing called duality. You began to create this and to create that with your concepts of duality. And the game is still going on. When you first started, it was fun because you had just come from the heart of the Father and it had no other thought separate from that which is divine love. But as you drop down into the next dimension and then decided to see what was on the dimension below it, and should I correct myself here to say that you created the dimension below it to create different things and continue to do this until you find yourself where you are at this time. At this time in your memory is very short, for you came from eternity, and most of you do not remember what you were doing a year ago today, or 6 months. Can any of you remember what you were doing exactly a month from today? You see, this trap called time and space is illusion also, and you have forgotten because you are involved in the beliefs of time and space. You have forgotten who you are because you are too involved in running to and fro to gather up material things to fulfill your physical obligations without taking God's divine love and light with you. There is nothing wrong in what you are doing on this physical plane as you go through your day and do your work and raise your families. But the mistake is that you forget where your source comes from. You forget that the life that you are is God Himself. You forget the reality of life. And you continue to create more illusions through your belief in illusion. Am I being too difficult with you tonight? You may think so, but you must be called back to the true reality of being. You must be shaken by the shoulders and say, wake up and see what is and what is not. See that life is, period. When you were in the Garden of Eden, as your book, the Bible, speaks of, and this is a place, but it is also a state of consciousness. You had no concept of duality. You had no concept of this or that. You had no concept of, I have to go here, I have to go there. You were in a state, a perfect state of being. Just being. Can you, in your thoughts, your feelings, this moment, just be? Can you drag your thoughts away from what happened today or what you have to do tomorrow? Or maybe it's time to pay the mortgage, and I wonder what my bank balance is, and many other things. Can you bring yourself to this moment, here and now, and just be? If you stop to think about it, you are sitting in the circle of light, and you can't write a check for your mortgage right now. You can't do your job or take care of the children right now. You are sitting in this circle of light. Live in the moment. Yes, some of you are doing this. You are bringing your attention to the moment, to the here and now. But I ask you, in truth, what will you take away from here with you? When you walk out the door and get in your automobile, you have to drive down the road, and you have to think of getting home or wherever you go. Are you living in the moment? I challenge you to try to do this when you leave this room tonight. I challenge you to awaken in the morning and say, good morning, God, I love you. Thank you for this beautiful day, even though it might be raining. Thank you for this body and this house that I live in. Thank you for this mind that I think with. And when you look in the mirror, can you say to yourself, hello, you beautiful being of light, I love you, and truly mean it? It seems that maybe I am challenging you tonight, but there are times when we need to be challenged. There are places in consciousness where we need to be brought up short and take inventory of what is happening in your consciousness. What is your goal? What are you moving into? What are you working towards in the inner part of your consciousness? Are you making headway? Or are you just marking time and taking one step forward and 2 steps backward? This is not true for all of you in the circle of light, but I say to you, you need to watch yourself closely. I say to you that you need to learn to love yourself permanently, continuously, and to love life. For my dear ones, remember that life is God. Do you want to love God? Then you must first love yourself. Then you love life as you see it, as you experience it, everywhere you go. No matter what it appears to be doing, even if you were on the battlefield tonight. The war and the battlefield have been discussed in some of your lessons. And it has been said that they are a cleansing process. And they are. They are also the outward manifestation of impatience. Impatience to make yourself and your fellow man perfect. To create your outer world to your liking so that you can be comfortable in your physical being, in your physical world. I tell you, my dear ones, you will never be comfortable. You will never be relaxed and at peace in your physical world until you learn to be relaxed and at peace in your inner world. That whole universe that dwells within you is where you began. To relax your body, you must learn to relax your mind. To relax your mind, you must learn to relax your thoughts. To relax your thoughts and be at peace in your thoughts, you must know the truth about yourself, the truth that is eternal. You must know, my dear ones, that you are divine, that you need not be in a hurry about anything. One of your teachers has told you in the past, there is enough time for everything that is important. And since you are involved in the illusion of time and space, and do not kid yourself, unless you are truly living in the present moment continuously, you are involved in the illusion of time and space. So how do you use your time? How do you start your day? How do you think of your life as you find it when you awaken to this physical world? Do you feel good about yourself? Do you feel good about life on this physical plane? If you feel good within yourself, within the inner part of yourself that houses the God within you, and are able to remember this and bring it forth to your physical conscious awareness, then you can feel good about your physical world. You can see through and beyond the outer illusions and know the truth and be free of the harassments and the negative, jagged vibrations of this plane. Yes, they are. The vibrations of your physical plane, in the great, great majority, are jagged, are negative, are harsh, but you need not be involved in it unless you so choose. If you do not know the truth about yourself, or you do not remember the truth about yourself, even after you have been told many times, then you get in a hurry to do this or to do that and become impatient, and your muscles tense, and your mind is not clear, and you think thoughts of impatience and fear and worry and doubt. Do you see how this works? I am trying to paint you a word picture of how the inner can bring forth the peace and harmony and beauty to the outer you. But you must first become acquainted with the inner you. You must first know yourself as you truly are, not as you appear to be on this physical plane. Ask yourself, do I truly know the reality of my being? Maybe you can sit down in meditation and for a few minutes or an hour even, remember who you are. But as you open your eyes and move forward into your physical plane, do you take this with you? Can you take this with you? This, my dear ones, is something to practice. It is something to consider. Going within and finding that inner spark and let it become lighter and brighter until it fills your whole being, that spark of God that dwells within you, and revel in the beauty and the peace, that peace that passes understanding that you were told about. And then open your physical eyes and continue to look through your inner eye as you go through your play on this stage called Earth. Yes, you need to open your physical eyes so that you can see where you're going. For most of you have not been able to use your inner eye on the physical without using your physical eyes, but it can be done. Bringing the reality of your inner being to the outer surface is your goal in being on this physical plane. Waking up, understanding who you are, why you're here, where you're going, and what this is all about. Does your outer physical world make sense to you? Not really, because it is illusion, it is confusion, and you with your thoughts over many centuries of time, have built up this illusionary world that is filled with negative worry, fear-filled thoughts that are all around you. And if you are not involved and immersed in God's love and light and understanding, then these thoughts come into your mind. If they see a little crack in the light that surrounds you, they will come in and bring all their cousins, as your teacher Eloah has said before. And then you have to deal with all those until you can say to yourself, "Get thee behind me, Satan, I know thee not." And this is exactly what your master teacher meant when he said this. Yes, he went through all the experiences that we have gone through, and he came back those 2,000 years ago to play out the act that you are going through at this time and have been going through for a long time, to set a pattern for you to go by. Many other teachers and masters in Christ have come to other civilizations to do the same, and they will continue to do so if it takes eons and eons of what you think of as time until you awaken. Because you see, in their consciousness, my dear ones, they are not involved with time or space. They are not involved with duality. They know who they are. And they know that this moment is all there is. Try to emulate these great beings that have brought you a pattern to go by. Try to follow in their footsteps and bring forth that light that is within you and be a shining example to this plane. You can accomplish this no matter what you think of yourself at this moment. I tell you emphatically, you can accomplish this feat of bringing forth the divinity within you and let it be manifested in your outer physical world, not just for a short time, but continuously. Then you are the master of this plane, and you are living in consciousness above and beyond this plane, even while you're still in the physical body, going about doing things physically. And I tell you, as you do this and bring forth this kind of consciousness, others will see it. They will know it. They will feel it. And you will change every life that comes near you. This is your goal. Whatever your physical plans are plans for the physical plane, and this is all right. You have a part to play, and you came to play out this part on this on this stage called Earth. That is not important. But what is important is how you play your part, how you think as you are playing your part, how you feel, your attitude about it, your mood. This is what is important. And if you can go within daily, not just once, but several times a day, and find that inner spark of divinity and bring it forth to your outer conscious awareness and practice taking it into your world, you will find that you will be able to hang on to it a little bit longer each time if you truly practice with sincerity. This is everyone's goal who is in a physical body on this plane. Most know it not. You are being told in words, in your language. Do you know it? Will you remember it tomorrow or next week? The illusions of this plane are very strong and very powerful because of the reinforcement over many, many centuries. And unless you become strong and powerful from the God within you, you will forget. But you can remember to stop often through the day and renew this understanding. Even if you are doing something physically, you can, in your thoughts, go within and touch base with this God within you. It is not easy for you, no, but it is possible. And it is something that you will accomplish. The timing is up to you and no one else. And when you come to that place where you don't think of when or time, then you have come a long way to being in that state of consciousness of your Godhood. Let us pause at this time and give you opportunity to ask questions if you like.
I have a question. I've been working with my higher self, and I'm just wondering why my higher self can only educate me from a certain amount of knowledge. If I'd ask something beyond my frame of reference, it also seems to be limited to his. I realize that he has more knowledge available. I'm wondering why I'm only allowed so much of that information.
Are you able to assimilate this information and bring it into manifestation on the physical plane?
In regard to my questions, you mean?
Yes. You see, your higher self is the link between your conscious physical self and the God within you. It is like your telephone, in a sense. You pick up the telephone and you can dial on the other side of the world. And there will come a day when you can dial to another planet. But you see, there are many connections between your receiver and where you are dialing to. When you go to school, you learn to add and subtract before you divide and multiply. And I am not certain of I cannot give you an example of what you are speaking about, but it would seem to me that there must be a misunderstanding that is keeping your higher self from bringing the information that you desire to your conscious awareness. What would you say to that?
Well, other than it being, the example I'm thinking about is being asked a question by somebody else while I'm in my higher self, and in regard to, shall we say, his or her readings about it in different books, and me and my conscious mind not having read that information in regard to the subject matter that he's talking about.
You're not continuing enough. You stop too soon. Continue. Say what you mean.
So when another person asks my higher self a question, the subject matter is something that my little self isn't aware of in reference to, let's say, reading the same book that this other person has read. About, matter of fact, talking about different masters, for instance. And I'm just wondering how that ties in with, how my higher self ties in with what kind of information it can give to me or to somebody else, if it's information that I'm not aware of on a conscious level in reference to, let's say, a reading in a book.
Let us start with your first word. Your higher self. Your higher self is for you. Your higher self is for the information and understanding for you, your life force, and your consciousness to have someone else ask your higher self a question would really constitute a reading as you think of it, wouldn't it not?
I guess so, in a sense.
Yes. And when you give a reading, it is as this experience that is happening. Let me rephrase this. This is not a reading, but it is contact with the higher dimensions, and it is from a higher consciousness that comes through this consciousness that is speaking, that is using the voice box of this entity to relay the information. So there is a difference. Each individual should learn to use and make contact with their individual higher self. As you know, everyone is different in the whole of the universe, and everyone has different concepts, especially on the physical plane, about what this is or is not. Everyone speaks a different language, in a sense, even though you call it English, because you have different understandings about what words mean. And it is for your higher self to speak to you, and for others to learn to make contact with their higher self for them. Is this credible to you?
Very much so. Thank you.
Yes.
I'd like to give thanks for the love and the compassion that our soldiers are showing to the Iraqi soldiers who are coming to them starved and thirsty and shoeless and have their clothes half ripped off of them. They're showing extreme love, and that is going to be affect all the nations. They're going to see something that they've never seen before in an army. You feel it. You feel it. All those thousands of people who come over to the our side and need love, and they're getting the love from the soldiers who see their deplorable condition and see their helplessness and see their courage. It's unbelievable. It's so beautiful.
Yes. And this will spread. This will continue to spread all over your world.
You're feeling it from everybody you meet is talking this like we're beginning through this channel. They're feeling it. They're picking it up, and they've all got it, and they all feel that God is victorious and that God is triumphant right now.
Yes, even in the midst of war, you see, there is no good or evil. This is the most devastating, if we could say, and that is dealing again with duality. But I have to communicate with you the concept of good or evil is the most prevalent in your understanding of duality. And there is no such thing. Life is. It is on these lower planes what we create it to be. And as you have heard many times, you create your own reality. And if we can create a beautiful God self-expressing from within out, then it can be an example for others if they choose to see it and to follow it. So nothing happens without reason and purpose as your language understands it. All things work together for good. All things work together for the uplifting of life. I am eliminating the word good. All things are working together for the upliftment of the life force and bringing the light to shine on your physical plane through those who have the ability to understand the truth, can bring about heaven on earth. It may take many more wars because there are still wars going within the individuals, and some even in this circle.
I've made tremendous steps forward since August, since this threat of war came up. You feel it all over. There's a different attitude, and there's a different attitude even today than there was yesterday. And the way that our people are meeting the situation that's come up, the way President Bush is stretching out in love and kindness, and you feel it from the head military man. You feel it. There's no selfishness shown. They're ready to love, and they're giving love freely. It's glorious.
Life is glorious, and it is glorious everywhere present, even in the midst of war, if you are able to see with the inner eye instead of the illusionary dual eyes. When you look with the two eyes, you see duality, you see good and evil. But when you see with the single eye, then you see the truth. And the saying, if thine eye be single, thine whole body shall be filled with light. And light is a symbol of understanding. And the understanding can spread out from you to others if they are open. And if they understand it at the moment, will they understand it a year from now, 10 years from now? That is the illusion that is so powerful on your plane that even when those of you in this circle, when you come on Wednesday nights and renew your understanding, you sometimes forget before you come back next Wednesday and allow the illusions to come in and cause you to worry and cause you to have pain and tension. But you will learn. You are learning. And you are raising your consciousness. Are there other questions this evening? I would point out to you that the beings of love and light from the realms that I now inhabit have great patience. They have the patience that is of God, for they understand and they know the battles that you are fighting within yourself, and they understand that you do want to be godlike, that you want to remember who you truly are, and that you do forget. And they come again and again to remind you, and they will continue to come to remind you when you will listen, when you are open. And this is why I admonish you to stop often through the day and go within to renew your understanding, to remind yourself of the true reality of your being, so that you can go a little bit farther into your day with the light of understanding shining forth from your conscious awareness. Are there other questions this evening?
Yes, I have a question. I had a tape that I listened to almost a year ago, and then I stopped listening to it for a while. And it was becoming a super listener, a subliminal type tape. And I seemed to be working very hard at it at the time, and that's why I finally just put it away and waited for the right time. And I just recently put it back in and started listening to it. And today I noticed, because we have a staff meeting, I usually have a tendency to talk too much at a staff meeting. I noticed that I wasn't, and that unless I had something to contribute, I listened most of the day. Is that because the tape is working, or have I just finally matured enough to start listening on my own.
In other words, my dear, you're learning to be patient with those around you, are you not?
Yes.
And you do not have to expound yourself every time they say something that you do not agree with. If you can say the truth so that they will hear it in a way that is loving and that brings enough power of God's love and light so that they will hear the truth, then it is worthy of speaking. Otherwise, it is not. And your inner self will know, because there are many who are working with you who are striving to grow. They have had different experiences in their past, and sometimes their past experiences coincides with what you are going through at this time, and they have the understanding. And when they are near you and your mind is open, they can put thoughts into your aura, as you think of it, thoughts around you, and if you decide to accept them, then they do come into your consciousness and your conscious awareness, and most of the time you think it is your thoughts. But remember what one of the teachers has said in the past, that very few of you have original thoughts. When you are on the physical plane. So, send love often to those who are helping you from these dimensions, and send love to all the so-called invisibles around you. And if they are of the dimness and darkness, those who misunderstand about life, they will have to change or to leave your presence. And this will eliminate confusing thoughts that could creep into your mind.
Gotcha.
Are there other questions this evening?
This I have a question. What is the difference between your higher self working through you and a channel working through you, such as the situation right now in Don?
Yes. The
Understand?
I am attempting to collect the right words that will help you to understand and that will not confuse. Your higher self is that part of you that is one with God. Let me start from another point. As your teacher has said, your life is between you and God and no one else. And this is true because you live in God, and God lives within you. What others do or do not do, what they say, how they act, has nothing to do with you, except as you react to it, and that is an inner experience if you react. It can be a positive reaction, or it can be a negative one. When one has learned to set themselves aside to a certain extent, as is happening at this moment, then it is coming from, there's a saying at your racetrack, straight from the horse's mouth. This may not make sense to you, but it is coming from the higher dimensions and not coming through several dimensions that could be clogged, and this is not coming out in the correct words for your understanding, but I think that if you meditate on this, you will get a better understanding about it.
May I make a statement?
Yes.
What I'm understanding, and please, I'm going to try to clarify it. If it's not appropriate, please correct me. But what I'm understanding is that the inner self, we have many levels within ourselves, and ourselves oftentimes are not clear within. So when we get our information from our higher self, oftentimes it's colored by many screens, versus putting ourselves aside and receiving information from somewhere else or a higher being, then it is not as colored. I don't know if that's accurate.
Yes, this is close to being accurate. When one is able, even as Donald is doing now, it is still colored a little bit by his use of the language, because he does not set himself completely apart as other so-called mediums do. But your higher self is for your information, for your understanding that is different from anyone else's understanding. When we have a circle of light, such as we are having now, there are many here who are not in the physical. Your teachers and guides, many of them are with you and around you, and they are projecting God's love and light into your minds and into the contact, into the words that you hear, and helping them to come into your conscious awareness in the understanding that will be closer to the real truth for you as an individual. And each one here is hearing something different from these words, because each one of you have different understanding of what a word means. It is very difficult for us sometimes to communicate with you through your language, but we do the best that we can. And when you set aside your language and speaking of words, then will the understanding be much more clear, and we will be able to project to you a picture, a knowing, a feeling in a few seconds that would take the hour or hour and a half that we spend here in the evenings.
Isn't the channel that you are, your higher self, aren't they identical?
They come through the dimensions to the physical. The reality of your being is your higher self, that part of you that is one with God. But your higher self, to come through to the physical, has to come through other dimensions and through the language and the words to communicate. And this is the misunderstandings that even come in a session as this at times. Does this help your understanding, my dear one?
Yes, very much.
Is it because of the mentality that sometimes interferes with understanding? It's because the mentality, the intelligence we try to use interferes with this arch language?
Well, mentality is another word for understanding, is it not? Mm-hmm. Yes. It is an understanding of what words mean. If you look at your planet, or just your country, in the Deep South, they have words that would have no meaning to you unless you have lived among them for a while. Isn't this true? Yes. For example, the Cajuns, they have their own way of saying things, and many other cultures in your country. It is a regional thing, and it is a learned thing in that region of what a certain word means. Take your ghettos. They have their own language, and the children in these ghettos purposely create their own language so that the adults do not understand what they're saying.
But the love is all the same in all of them, no matter what different language they use. The love is love, and it's God's love.
Yes, this is true. But we, with this plane of illusion, mix things up, and sometimes purposely, to keep a secret, to keep others from knowing what we're doing. And when we do away with the language and the words, there will be no secrets, because all will be known, and there's no need for secrets, because we are all one in God. And even though we are at different levels of consciousness, when we use the understanding of God's love, we eliminate criticism and condemnation, even of ourselves.
It takes time to get to that point where you see that clearly.
Yes, it takes practice. When you think of communicating, practice eliminating these words of duality called time, and use in place practice as I just have, or place in consciousness, because there is only the here and now. And what you understand here and now is the only thing that you can communicate and can understand from others. And there will always be just the here and now. You are a beautiful circle of light tonight, and there are many others around you who have come to learn as you're learning from the realms of dimness sometimes, and even of darkness, that have come to warm by your light and your love, and some of the truth sinks into their consciousness, and they begin to awaken. Often through your day, send love to all those in darkness, for there are many, many who are in darkness, just through the lack of understanding the truth. It has been a blessed privilege to be with you this evening, to share God's love and God's truth, God's light of understanding. And let us send God's love right now into every word that has been spoken tonight. And let us ask God's light to fill our minds so that the understanding will be more clear. And when you're reading a book or studying a lesson that you do not quite understand, ask for God's light in and around the words. Ask for God's light to fill your minds, and listen and be still and be patient. The understanding comes. God bless you, each and every one, on both sides of the veil. Good evening. Sit down.
Are you sure you're not sure yet?
We are changing our routine, Annabelle.
What?
We're changing our routine.
Sorry. I didn't know.
When we first started our channeling, we always stayed for a while and talked about what the lesson and from the conscious state. And it seemed to help. It seemed to allow those who don't usually speak up to speak up a little bit and feel more free to talk. Just when we seem to be here by ourselves, we appear to be here by ourselves.
They lost all their toes.
I would like to say something.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that I'm saying something. I didn't plan on being here tonight, and I'm so thankful that I'm here. I had a dream last night.
Speak louder, Glenn.
I had a dream, what I remember of it is that I was here and I was unable to speak. I wanted to ask so many questions, and I realized why I wasn't able to speak, because the answers were given. If I would have spoken, I would have lost the answers that were given to me. And I realized that while I was sitting here tonight, that I need patience so very badly in my life. This is so important. It's this tremendous war that's going on in my, even other words to use,
In yourself.
in myself.
Yes.
And without making the war any worse, I'm just following my.
You're allowing yourself to be. Glenn came to the first class in the self-awareness last night, and I gave him a tape that was blank for the conditioning tape. So I don't think it was accidental, Glenn.
Oh.
So he said, well, this is the night you have your channeling in it. I think I'll stay for it. Yeah.
And this tape I got, it doesn't start. I can't get it reversed.
Let's talk about it later. Let's talk now about the class, if you want to. If you don't, I will dismiss. If you're in a hurry,
What was the title of the class tonight?
patience.
Very important.
Did we miss much of it? No. Well, there was much. Just the reading before.
So in other words, the key to patience is to live. And then
Here in the now, right?
Yeah, if you're in a hurry to go, well, you're impatient.
Right, but I'm just, trying to,
Yeah.
clear it up for myself.
It seems no matter what the channel is, it's always apropos for what's going on in my life anyway.
I would like to confess that most of these titles come from my misunderstandings. Because patience is one of the largest things that I came to learn this time, in this incarnation.
I think it gave me a different perspective on patient when I asked my question about, listening, and the fact that I put the subliminal tape and it seems to be working this time. And he says, that's one aspect of patience, learning patience.
Mm-hmm.
It's just listening, being patient with others and listening to what they had.
Yeah. Allow them to express whether you agree with it or not. I know a few people like that, and they sometimes irritate me because I don't know what they're thinking, And that's another form of impatience, isn't it? Yeah. And I sometimes say, well, what do you think about this? You're not saying anything.
It also reminded me of something that I have a tendency to do. I do send love, but I have a tendency to forget the more, dark realm. And, I'll send it out to the teachers and guys that I don't belong.
Yeah, send love into all of those in darkness everywhere. Ella was told us many times that the realms of darkness just goes on and on and on without being able to even count those in darkness. But they will all find their way out.
I think
At some place in consciousness. Not some place in time, some place in consciousness.
I think there's a love in there itself that's covered up, and the love that's coming from all of us, it's bound to make a connection. And also in these troubled times, when you're upset, then your love, the love that comes to you, is apt to get through better in a troubled time.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think?
If you learn to be relaxed and at peace, why, love can flow through you much easier, and your understanding come through. And that's why we start off your classes by the word peace, and your self-awareness class starts off by being relaxed, learning to relax.
I think the word that is not only, a cleansing for them over there, as we have see to think of it, as is for myself. I know when I was much younger, I was very much perturbed by wars and all that. And this time I haven't been, and I think it's been a lesson for believers that are growing, practice what we've been learning. Correct.
And to realize that we're just as much at fault as anyone else on this planet.
We've all contributed.
We've all contributed. That's right.
None of we pots can call the kettles black.
And our positive one. And our positive idea. Don't forget those.
I know.
It seems like sometimes we get too caught up in battling with the negatives, and we're still giving those energy while we're talking about.
Yes. We should talk about the answer.
I know it's given me a lot of practice in sending love.
Mm-hmm.
That's very, I think, even though I was doing it supposedly for them, it is myself that it was done.
Yeah. At one time, right after Elwood taught us the art of sending love, I thought, well, I think he's just doing this for us, not for anybody else. Just because if we're sending love, we're not thinking negative thoughts. But I realized later that it's a real thing, it's a real substance, and it does go to its mark.
but it can't help but touch you.
It has to if it goes through you. Yeah, he says it's like a two-edged sword. It has to help you.
Its source is every bit of life, isn't it? You can't be, nobody can be lost from it. Nobody can be separated from it.
Life is love. Love is life.
Like a poem I heard, or a card that was sent to somebody, and it said, "The love I send you is secondhand because I've already experienced it first."
Yeah.
It's gotta work that way, period.
But you can renew it and pass it on.
Money back.
Yeah.
And Shabbat.
Let's hold hands well.
If I got up here when I am the time of getting up, then you say I don't have to be up.
That's not right, Barry. We'll let you, all right.
Patient.
She looks like a one of those DeGrasse little kids.
Let's think of it when we're holding hands of coming together in the physical as we have been in spirit and in love. And as we're joining hands, let it be symbolic of bringing divine love and light and understanding and the spirit of the higher realms to the physical. See it fill this room, spread out over this city, and cover this planet, and move out to the whole universe. For God's love is all powerful and all wide, without limit. And we are made from the substance of God's love. Thank you, Father.
Oh, no. See, right?
So, no, I knew it's good to totally date you. I don't think it's very
I need to hear you talk.
Play hooky for a few pieces. Put on that.
I know how to.
You know, here.
With our island.
Well, this is the audio part, please. I thought you liked it. And I the right bloody head, but it's not a word about her, too.
I would have had it. No.
So, I love us ahead. Kind of when saw people buys. The band of the port of heaven is your call. Well, yeah, and too bad. Are you on it about no, by far out. Oh, I thought I did her life. What's your name? I know, no, I get on it about I think anybody can know I had Marty out of the came a few longer and Jen that she got one and I did $100 for years that I pretty bad. I mean, he said I has to read the corn and next year I know I'm in jail and I understood. I had it in a other pilot, T-Brain, it's one that I see. I had this orange. Yeah, and what I said there, and you know how did you feel? I had to get a load down.
Oh, hey, why went on? It's cussing out.
Seven. Let me see. It's a pretty subtle thing.
I know what the doctor legal or out of time. Why it's question.
When I got his quad, they come in and I don't want to go in there, comment, but I feel this up.
Do you want to ask a question? So we'll go to one and ask like what couldn't answer next question. Working less than read, but it's just too
Right, Dad, you know.
That too. He's done this sort of thing.
Wayne, I'd rather go my destiny to stay tuned, but I didn't. And then I find the bin that one of kill. Should I be to wind it, but I can't nothing. Nothing. I think I'm going out with everything. I've doubt I'm sharing the feelings. I mean about that. The pavement and enough to make know that and I get ingrained. I've never been being that way here. Let it be really bothered me had now. All the it's like such a thing of funny. Maybe done things and do and the workshops. The orthodox on the crying I can't get rid of this. Sure, train. I wanted you to see her. Help me put him on it for the door. She could really inside. Right, you're not Harry. All thing. The thing is that won't come back. That won't turn back. Oh, wait a minute. Stop. What did white part of the age? I'm saying just it was wanted. It's wonderful. It's just cost spot. $27. What's going on? I try to do buy it. It's in this amazing way that oh yeah, I brought the movie. And yeah, so it's where I had it. I heard them. I'm going to wait here. Well, I'm getting out and it's right the film. And it's like your other Madeline, they all have the info with the pie, but to go and this.
You got you going to a mind. I got you to find down in string listing to see what you up in her more think that make out like Shelley did. You read it in you know that I ever met and one day I think so. You work a lot, yeah. And let me know when you run into books like that. I didn't know.
I need to give Shelley a hug. Oh, Bunny, like, if you tell me what comes to him, you should be rad to cover. Yes, I need to get blended.
Yeah, I've given her on this thing since before Chris has his last part. I said the bond that they're longer than a year for older than you. She's been set out there now like 12, probably 12 hours. 18 lions coming in. Every looks like back.
I can't get it to go. And I want the one on emotion that you got it.
But he's called.
And the mayor. Yeah. I owe you $5 already.
Late me, young wild sir, my marching nerds to weighing a great deal of excitement seeing it all. She'll be getting better.
Real son. That's cute, always. You keep that outfit. Well, this is it. Over in here. That's
Something down and it seems to be simple like what it
and if I can I always buy with me. That's it, right?
and they never see the bot. I didn't see what it takes.
We were supposed to get a trim line before we appreciate.
Well, that's the way you keep from getting it. You're not overmade either.
I do want to say more here. That here we don't want you don't need dog.
Oh, that's good. I said you don't gain on it.
Have you read their Will Harvey on Maryland Diamond, Fit for Life? Each all feeling big. Brother, we sure bad like tonight. Submitted for upper the wall. Pardon? I've combining Harvey and Maryland Diamond and the ones who are using the Fit for Life Diamond. But my hands, you don't